What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's video. In today's video, we're going over my top 5 lean bulking tips. Now, last time we touched on hard gainers. Now the reason I call this my fine line for lean bulking is because it is just that. There is a fine line in it, and I can personally tell you I have gone both ends of the spectrum. So I know that fine line, and it is hard to stay on, but it's worth it. So one end of the spectrum is you get way too caught up in like the I'm bulking mentality and you just end up getting fat. Like, I've been there, it's not ideal. And then the other end of the spectrum, you got the like too scared to gain weight and gain fat as well. So it's kind of like, this is why I'm talking about the fine line. So I'm gonna run over my 5 top tips and hopefully these help. So tip number 1 is keep fats at a minimum and drive carbs up as high as possible. Now, the reason I say this is because carbs fuel hard sessions, they help muscle recovery and they help muscle growth. Therefore, apart from protein, they're key, okay? With fats, your essential fatty acids, like once you've hit your minimum requirements for that day, that's it. They do nothing else. They'll just get stored as fat and you can use them later. But I mean, your requirements, you can take them down to about half the amount of body weight you hold. So if I'm 80 kilos, for example, I can have my fats at 40 grams per day. Now, I do recommend having them a bit higher than that to be on the safe side, and obviously you're bulking, so you're gonna wanna eat some like tastier foods. But in saying that, keep that in mind. So get fats at a minimum, you can maybe go a touch over, and then the rest, push your carbs up. Because like I said, it's gonna help muscle growth, it's gonna help muscle recovery, and it's gonna help fuel hard sessions. And those are obviously key for building muscle. Tip number 2 is progressive overload. Now, I know you guys probably think like, duh, that's just key for muscle growth in general. And yes, it is. But the reason I put this in there is because I see a lot of people when they go into lean bulk, especially my clients, I really drill into the head, guys. You are eating more calories than you need on a daily basis. Therefore, you should and you have to be getting stronger, or you have to be increasing your volume over the weeks, over the months, over the year. If you're not, then your muscles have no extra stimulation, they have no extra load, which means they have no reason to grow, which means those extra calories you're eating is going to be stored as fat. Therefore, you're going to get fatter way quicker. All right, guys, tip number 3 is aim to gain slowly. So the reason you want to gain slowly is because if you gain too fast, like I said, you're going to go off in that deep end and you're just going to get real fat real quick, and then you're going to have to cut that back eventually. You're going to get stuck in that cycle of like gain weight, strip it back, gain weight, strip it back. So all the studies show, well, all the best studies that I've read show an average of about 300 grams per week is kind of that upper threshold of what you want to be gaining per week if you're just going off scale weight. So obviously the scales, you know, they fluctuate each day, determining by water, you know, when you last ate, if it was like closer, sooner. But if you are lean bulking or just in general, you should be roughly drinking the same amount of water each day. You're going to be eating the same calories each day. And as long as you jump on the scales, same time of the day, every day, first thing in the morning, it'll be fairly accurate. And the way you do that is, for example, this is what I do with my clients. They weigh themselves, say, every day. By the end of the week, they add them all together, they get the average. Cool, that's average of week 1. Then we go average of week 2 and so on. So if they're gaining more than 300 grams each week, it's way too fast and it's more than likely gonna be fat. I think those studies and that 300 gram per week on average threshold is very good. I even like to go a little bit lower. And I know when I first say that to people and my clients, they're like, fuck, that's so slow. But if you think about long term, and this is what you should be thinking when you're trying to gain lean muscle optimally as a natural, if you think about, let's say you gain 250 grams per week on average, okay, so that's less than 300. That's a kilo a month. That's 12 kilos a year. So if you think about yourself now, how you look, think about in a year's time, you've added 12 kgs of, let's say, nearly all muscle. You're gonna look so much bigger, so much better. And think about it, okay, a year ago, were you 12 kgs lighter? Probably not. So if you stuck it out and you actually managed to keep to that routine, say even for like 6 to 12 month period, you would gain a lot of good muscle mass. Therefore, don't look at the minute, like weekly, oh, I only gained 200 grams, that's nothing. Because like you have to be like, okay, hold on, but in a month's time, in 2 months, in 3 months, it'll be this much. So that's a great tip for you guys. Tip number 4, now this one, the I'm bulking mentality, that has to be thrown out the window, guys. Like I definitely did this when I first started training. I thought, you know, because I didn't know any better, so I just thought, oh, okay, I'm bulking, like I'll just eat as many calories as I can, and I got fat real quick, you know, and I was like, what's going on? I thought I was going to the gym like I should be, you know, should be building muscle, but no, because I was going way over that 300 gram per week threshold. I was just stacking on kilos, and then I looked back and I was like, oh shit, I have to diet again. So what I mean by the I'm bulking mentality, if you're unsure, you know, you might have heard your mate say it or the dude at the gym say it or whatever, pretty much means like you can't just keep blowing over your calorie threshold because you're already in a surplus. So if you keep blowing over that calorie threshold, you're just gonna put on way too much weight too quick, and then you're gonna have to diet again. All right guys, my last tip for today, number 5, you have to ditch the I want to be shredded look as well. So this is, I know we just touched on like you have to ditch the unbulking, but you also have to ditch the like shredded year round look. You have to be okay with gaining some body fat, and you have to be okay with gaining weight. If you want optimal muscle growth as a natural lifter, you have to increase your weight over time. Like I can't stay 78 kilos and just keep getting more muscular, more muscular, more muscular as the years go on. Like that can't happen, right? So guys, there is a little bit of like a psychological barrier here, and there can be. And some of the best words I've got from nutrition coaches I've worked with in the past, and he works with Olympic athletes, so this is like the top of the top. He told me, you're not gonna like the way you look towards the end of the bulk, you just have to man up and push through. And that couldn't be more true. So, you know, when you get into that 6 month, 8 month, 12 month mark of your bulk, and you are a little bit more high body fat than you'd like, you have to keep in mind that end result. You know, you have to think, okay, well, I started here, my end goal's over here with, you know, 5, 10 kg more muscle, whatever it is. You have to take on that slope of, oh, I'm gaining a bit of body fat with my size, that's okay. And then once you cut back down, you will have a lot more muscle mass than you previously did. If you just add a couple of kilos, strip it back, add a couple of kilos, strip it back, you're gonna grow like minimal. You're not even gonna notice the difference, you know? A whole year will go past and you'll be like, damn, I look the same as I did last year, and no one wants that. Oh, nah, I'm not. This is not how it's done. I know what you're talking about.